That's fair. I don't think it's only about it, but that's fair. I'm definitely hearing you on that. Susanna said, I don't know how deep the thinking can go here. There are obviously nuances that work for them. Sounds like she had severe trust issues. We agree. Women play a role without feeling anything all the time. And do you know what? This is the point I want to home in. Don't choose me. This is the point we're talking about. Do not choose me. This is what we're saying. Don't choose me. You women play a role without feeling anything all the time. Stop doing it. Stop choosing me for when you don't feel anything. This is what we're talking about. Don't do it. I don't want it. I don't like it. I'm not here for your rehab. Like, please don't choose me. Go on, Sean. So I know Sean already.
I had to come on camera because you know this is our motto for 2022 and beyond. Don't do it. It's the opposite of the Nike motto. Don't.
Don't. You know what I'm saying? Like we hear all the time what we as men need to do better. Women need to do better.
Wait, Sean, your sound went out. Sean,
yeah,
your sound went out quickly.
Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. Went into my car.
I'm back, bro.
How about now?
Yeah.
Better now? Okay. So the spirit is trying to take over here. So what the point is, don't do that. This is a version of struggle love. You know what I mean? Like that imbalanced, improper, I need to jump through, swim through, run 1,000 miles, get to you. No, that's struggle love. And if that's what your expectation is, not here. I don't want it. And most of us don't want that because this doesn't sound good to my ears. This shouldn't be something anyone should be settling for, should be tortured with years of not being loved, or their wife, not their girlfriend, but my wife is not in love with me for years. She's waiting for me to fail, hoping almost that I will fail. And then miraculously something ticks off in her head after I've endured not being loved. And can you imagine all the different things that manifests itself in? How many times he might have been rejected by her? How many times he had an unmet need that she was not willing to because she just didn't feel like she had to, and she was wanting him to win her over? Like, that's not the ideal kind of love. Does it happen? Do people have sustained relationships? They sure do. But those same said relationships do break up many years later because the person wasn't invested and their foundation, which they built their relationship on, was shoddy. So again, don't do it. I don't want it.
Mm-hmm. Corey, any thoughts? Because I think it was a good point by Susanna. She made a point. Women play a role without feeling anything anytime. And that's precisely why I said that, please, you know?
Yeah, it's admitted that's a little dangerous though, because you run the risk of wasting your time and you run the risk of wasting his time. So if you are attracted to something that a man does that you're not physically attracted to, my opinion, it's just my opinion on that, that the attraction physically should be there initially. That's not something you want to really grow into because you have to look at this person every day. You have to grow old with this person every day. But of course, we all know that looks can change. We all know things can happen. You get a scratch on your face or something can completely change how someone looks at you. But initially, that's a certain type of vibe that you get from someone who looks at you and say, "Wow, man, you're attractive. You look good." And with men, we're saying that men want to feel that. That's what we're saying. I'm reading some of the comments here as well, and I don't want you guys to feel that. What we're saying is we're not coming down on her. We're just trying to make women more aware of what affects men, things that you guys say, things you guys do, the way you guys move, how sometimes that can affect men as well. We oftentimes talk about, what affects women, but today we will talk about what affects men. So my thing is that when you're dating us, we want you to be physically attracted to us. So that's all I want to say.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and I don't want to, it's not just about attraction, by the way. I wasn't saying that it's just about attraction. So let me make that very clear so that we don't lose that in translation. It's not just about attraction. Attraction is just one of those things. that was a part of the piece of the puzzle. Yes, I do believe she had trust issues. Yes, I do believe there was emotional breakage there because, you know, of what she described. She described her own situation as being, you know, she didn't know how to love. She was accustomed to being one-sided and accustomed to rejection and abandonment. The part that blows me is that, but I wasn't in love with him because I didn't know how to love. It's like, that's the part I get stuck on. I'm like, so you don't mention that you've never been in love. You don't mention that, hey, I didn't know how to love in previous relationships. She doesn't mention that. She just mentions specifically him. She says, but I wasn't in love with him. That's why I mentioned about the attraction piece, because as much as trust is not there, let's be freaking honest. Does that stop your attraction? You know, does that stop you from being necessarily in love with somebody? And if you don't trust that person for so long, why would you stick through a relationship? You know what I mean? So that's why I said that there's something deep. As much as she's using the, you know what, I didn't know how to love. I agree. I do believe that there's a growth aspect. I didn't know how to love. Listen. When I look back at my past girlfriends, I can tell you each time I got better at the understanding of what love really actually is. But to say, oh, I wasn't in love with my first girlfriend, or I wasn't in love with my second girlfriend, or I wasn't in love with my third girlfriend, just because I had trust issues, or I was insecure, or I was doing silent treatment, or whatever, it would make no sense. I was still in love with these people. You know what I mean? So that's why I homed in on the attraction piece, because it's specifically talking about his particular particular issue. So that was one aspect that I was focusing on. Do you know what I mean? We already know, and we're going to talk about this as well in terms of that post about the other aspect. And here's my issue. I think I'm also reading the whole entire thing. We're not putting out of thin air. I already said why I believe that to be the case. You can read between lines. If you disagree, that's fine. I don't think it's pulled out of thin air. We can read between lines in terms of what she said, right? So if you read between lines, you can take it either way. You can say maybe she wasn't attractive, maybe she was attractive, and you can hold that position. And I'm not gonna change your mind on that. I'm just gonna say from our perspective, it wasn't taken out of thin air. I already asked the boys why they felt that way, and we gave our opinions as to why we felt that way, reading what she had said, in that particular place as well. So yeah, it's and my issue with this also is that I hate when we get called mansplaining. No offense, Felicia. I want to honor your post, but what I don't want to hear is mansplaining. I get tired of that. There's a whole word for how men see something. It's called mansplaining, right? If I said that you have a different opinion, I said you're womansplaining. It's just rude. I don't like that word. We're not mansplaining. We're just giving our man's point of view. And I don't want to hear you say, oh, well, mansplaining is man-explaining. No, because you know exactly what you're doing when you say man-explaining. And the reason I'm pushing back on this now is I feel like sometimes as men, when I create a safe space for them, women tend to try and break it. We're not man-explaining. We're giving a men's point of view. We could be wrong. It's not mansplaining. If you have a different point of view, give you a different point of view. But it's not man-explaining. It's just a different point of view. Okay? So give your point of view, try to label at the appropriate times. This was not an appropriate time to label us as mansplaining. This was us giving a man's explanation. So I want to push that back as well. All right. So, just so we get that in there, in that space as well. Yes, Corey.
Yeah, I just want to say this, man.
Oh, wait, pause. I want to
Okay.
say this before someone says this. Before you start saying it, I'm not triggered, because I have a feeling the next thing that's going to come out is you're triggered. I'm not triggered. I want to start putting things in place to understand that if we're going to attract more men to the platform,